What if I told you there was a way to eat more food while losing fat? Here's the truth. A calorie deficit alone will never be a long-term solution for your fat loss goals. While it is true to some degree that calorie deficit will help you lose fat, you also need to know how to speed up your metabolism with diet breaks and refeeds. My name is Francis. I'm a pro nutrition coach that have helped over 1,400 people get to your dream body, lose about 10 to 40 pounds of fat in a sustainable way. Today, we're gonna be talking about how to speed up your metabolism, learning how to eat more food while losing fat in the process. Let's get straight into the lesson. What is going on? This is Coach Francis, IFBB Pro and Nutrition Coach, and today we're gonna be talking about how to eat more while losing more fat, right? So let's break one of the biggest myths in the fat loss industry, that eating less is always gonna be better. In reality, if you do this right, eating more at the right time can actually help you lose more. So let's dive right into this. So how many of you listening to this right now, right, has been cutting hard, watching every calorie, doing a little bit of cardio, but the scale just stops moving, right? It's not just about calories at the end of the day. If you're stuck, it's time to look at a deeper look at your strategy, right? Your recovery and the missing pieces that most people skip. So the reason why most diets fail is because people think fat loss is just starving yourself, right? Let me just starve myself. Let me just do cardio. That's, absolutely crazy, right? Chronic deficits plus high stress plus poor sleep equals stalled fat loss. And that's why plateaus happen, right? It's not that your body is broken. It's that it's just adapting, right? Now it's the time to actually outsmart your body. And that's what we're going to be doing today. So I want to talk about a refeed really quick, right? So a refeed is your secret weapon. A 1 to 2 day bump in calories that boosts leptin, right? This is going to be your hunger hormone and improves training and helps reset your metabolism short term. So it's not a magic cheat day, right? It's not random. It's very strategic and very controlled, right? And it can be an absolute game changer. This is a strategy I use with all my clients, especially if they're trying to lose fat, right? That's over 20, 30, 40, over 100 pounds of fat loss. This is going to be needed, especially if you're trying to lose fat in the long term, right? So let's talk about a diet break. Like I said, if a refeed is a short-term tool, a diet break is a longer-term reset, okay? So 5 to 7 days eating at maintenance, right? Your maintenance calories. So this gives your body a break and hormones a break and time to actually catch up, right? This is the absolute key when you've been dieting hard for weeks and weeks and weeks and just need to restore to baseline, right? This is a diet break. So again, with the refeed, like what we were talking about earlier, the duration is about 1 to 2 days. With the diet break, it's about 5 to 14 days, right? And the goal for the refeed is going to be a short-term spike. The trigger is going to be low energy, stalled weight, and frequency would be every 7 to 14 days. A diet break, on the other hand, like I said, is 5 to 14 days, a full recovery, long-term fatigue for the trigger, and frequency would be about every 6 to 10 weeks, and even a little bit longer for some people, depending on their biofeedback, specifically for my clients. So think of it this way. Refeeds are for short bursts when you're pushing really hard. Diet breaks are for when you're seeing systemic fatigue, right? So energy is low, training flat, and your stress is high. You need both in your toolbox to be able to lose fat consistently. How do we actually implement this and use this? Right? So here's an example right here. 6 weeks on and 1 week off, right? 6 weeks of a deficit with tracking and 1 to 2 refeed days per week. Week 7 would be a maintenance break. 10 weeks on, 2 weeks off would be 10 hard weeks of fat loss, refeed every 10 to 14 days, and weeks would be 11 to 12 for the diet break, right? So that's the absolute key. It has to be data driven. Again, this is not just random where it's like you hear me talk about this, you're like, oh, I'm just going to take this and run with it. You need to be strategic with it and know what to look for, specifically when it comes to your body, right? So I want to give you a real client example too. So this is my client Pat, who dropped 21 pounds in 12 weeks, but we still use diet breaks midway and the refeed right before his final push. The results, 44 pounds dropped, and he didn't just get leaner. He held his size, stayed strong, and looked even better at the end, right? And as you can see right here, he definitely gained some muscle through that process. And this is literally just the first phase. His second phase is even crazier with the transformation pick. Here's the final takeaway. Some key things I want you to remember. Refeeds and diet breaks aren't cheats, okay? It's not going to be a crazy cheat meal. They're just tools. When you learn to read your body and plan ahead, you can push harder and harder and harder and get more sustainable results, right? That's how the pros do it. That's how all our clients do it. And that's how you can do it too, right? So if you want a free meal plan, a training plan, and even macros that I can give you completely for free, go to the school community in my bio and I can give you that if you want to implement this in real time.